Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create Azure SQL instance and how you can connect that to Azure Data Studio, right? So first thing, we will go to Azure portal, and then here within services, all services, I can click on database. Now here you are presented with option for Azure SQL, right? So click on that, and from there, as you can see, I already have instance of my databases, right? Here you have SQL Server first, and under which you can see SQL database, which is showing 5 DTUs, right? So I will just show you the process to set one up for yourself, right? So to do that, what I can do is I will click on create, and this will show you 3 options to choose from, first being SQL database, then SQL manage instance, and then SQL virtual machine. So for SQL database, you can see resource type as single database, and then SQL manage instance where you have single instance and Azure Arc single instance, and finally virtual machine where you have to choose from your own SQL Server version along with Windows version and licenses. So you have variety of combinations here like Windows Server 22, Oracle Linux, Ubuntu Linux, SUSE, Red Hat, and even older versions of Windows, right? So what you choose from here is up to you, but this is specific for SQL virtual machine. Our goal is Azure SQL for single instance database. So I will click on create. Right now I will also show you what to do till the end, and then we will revert back to our existing instance. Right now here for project, you can choose your subscription, choose your resource type, then you choose your database, right? You can give it a name, right? You can give any name, there is no such limit, right? You will also choose the server. If you haven't created anything from that, you can simply create new server, right? And then you choose the SQL Elastic pool. You choose yes in case if you have busy server and you want something to give you performance assurance. In that case, Elastic Pool is a good option. Then comes compute and storage. Here by default 10 DTUs are given to you. You can reduce that for something simple. So let's say if I choose basic, which will reduce down to 2 GB of data and 5 DTUs, right? You can apply that and return here. Now here you can choose backup, local, zone, or geo, right? And then you can see the price. You can move to networking. Here you can allow your Azure services to access this server, right? And next you can choose private endpoints or public endpoints depending on what you choose. So here you can create that by clicking on add private endpoint, right? Now the next thing would be also choosing your security, right? Here as you can see, I have not selected ledger identity, and also I'm not choosing for defender, right? Then there is option to use existing data sources. I can use sample data, or I can choose database collation from the list. So it is kind of painful to go through all of this, but if you are planning on checking the right collation for your data, you can select from the list. Now the next thing is maintenance window, which I usually don't mess up with as it is set to system default 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. Between that, maintenance do happen. Now comes the tags. You can organize your databases through tags, right? Finally comes review and create, where you can check your all resources and then give a green signal for the deployment. Deployment usually takes 5 to 10 minutes depending on your region and the choices that you have selected, right? I already created one instance, so I will go back to the options that I have. I already created SQL Server, under which I have database with 5 data's, as you can see, and I can now check the details of that database. Now while this all loads, I can go to Azure Data Studio. So this is on my desktop, Azure Data Studio. I will open it. Now what type of detail it will require is this server name. I will copy that. Then it will also ask me for my name as well, right? Along with that, there will be some things to check like connection strings, right? So for your application you can make use of that, right? Now the thing is, we can go to overview, and here we will take a look at other options as well. Like, let's see, you have server name, database connection strings that you just checked out, right? Here ODBC, PHP, Go, all of that listed here. Then comes other options like Synapse link. If you're planning on connecting to Power BI, this link will be required, right? Then comes your other options like, let's say, query editor, just in preview mode. And if you're watching this in near future, you will find that once you add your username and password, you are good to go. You can also use Active Directory authentication, right? When considering I only allowed this particular setup for the database, you can find that option. Okay, to establish the connection, click new connection. Here we will be clearing anything existing. Go to browse and then check your Azure account and select the database that you want to connect to. Here you can choose the authentication type. So now here I am choosing the authentication type as SQL login. Now all I have to do is paste the password, right? And now already database is selected that we want. Also that database is populated with AdventureWorks data, right? So I will just connect to it. And here on the left hand side, you will find that we have our database connected, right? It will be showing me all the available tables. So we have like this address table. You can double click on it and it will show you its content as well. So if you want to expand on the connection, it will also show you what's inside, right? Now the thing is, I want to run some queries, right? I want to run queries on, say, table called address. So I will right click, select top 100 data. So it immediately goes to a new tab and get the required fields, as you can see, and it will execute that. I don't want, however, too many of that. 1000 would be too much. So what I will do, I will reduce down to 10. I will remove the fields that I don't need, right? Then I will also remove the modified date. So all of that removed, I can reduce down to things that I want to see. So I will just run this query. Now I have exactly the data that I need, also the limit I have put up and the fields that I want to see it with, right? I can also rearrange all these things, like I can pick on specific postal code first or country first and rest of the columns other. That is up to you how you set things up, right? This is just a sample database from AdventureWorks, but in the real life scenario you would be working with lot different type of database, right? For example, your own could be related to business data, and there you will have to filter out the columns, and also you have to ignore some of the fields, etc., and select them. So this was just an example for you to see that we can connect Azure Data Studio with Azure SQL on portal, right? You can either use Data Studio or you can use in portal query editor. Either one of that would do. but I would recommend using external tool because it helps doing variety of operations like your notebook connection, or if you happen to use it for any data science work, you can use such tools as well, like DataSpell, DataGrip, right? Those tools are also there. Now we have managed to make use of Azure Data Studio. There are other admin tools as well. For example, Table Plus. Then we have dbeaver, right? Now there are tools like Navigat, Hide SQL, and there are tools, say even if you want to use SSMS, you can use that as well. So I will be covering few of those, and we will pretty much follow the same process to create an instance and also getting that instance connected to those database admin tools, right? So I hope that you found this process useful and also easy to work with, so you can go ahead and try this on your own.